Hey everybody, and welcome back to Horror Film Lovers Reviews. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with
John Ward.
John Ward. And we did a couple weeks ago we did Evil Dead Rise, so I figured let's do Evil Dead the remake and then just keep going backwards. So next after this would be Army of Darkness, and then Evil Dead 2, and then Evil Dead the movie, and then maybe we'll even talk about the show. I don't know, I haven't really watched the show yet, so that
I
might be a
watched
while.
every episode.
That might be a while because I'd have to rewatch it from the very beginning because I've seen the first two seasons, but it's been a long time. So, anyway, we're here to discuss Evil Dead 2013. And I absolutely love this movie, by the way. Like I'm just gonna flat out say that. Like I definitely I liked it a lot more than Evil Dead Rise, which I really liked, but I thought this was pretty damn good. Um so I'm anxious to hear your thoughts, but real quick, I just want to say, like, I think I might have mentioned this on the last one, but I didn't fully watch it before. Like, I hadn't watched it all the way through until today. And what had happened was a friend of mine came over. I had it on DVD. We decided to watch it. She had already seen it. And then we looked at the time and she had to go. So I was like, oh, I'll just come back and watch it by myself later. Lo and behold, I just never did that. It just time swept through me at that time, and I just kind of like left it out. And then
Like Taco Bell with me.
yeah, and then I rented it on YouTube today, so I could watch it. And I do plan on buying it on Blu-ray at some point. Um,
I own it. I own it. I own all the Evil Dead movies. So
nice.
this is the the Blu-ray of it, and it's got some special features on it, but they're made for the Blu-ray, so
Okay.
nothing's going to be really negative. But
Okay.
yeah, so there's like making life difficult, which is like the how physically exhausting the film was. Directing the Dead is with the director. Being Mia is with the lead actress.
Hmm.
Jane. And then there's the cast and filmmaker commentary. Unleashing the Evil Force, where they talk about the Book of the Dead.
Well, that's nice that
Evil
they did
Dead.
commentary. We've talked about this. We barely ever see commentary on DVDs and Blu-rays anymore.
Well, and what's nice about that? Oh, and the last one is Evil Dead, the reboot, where they do talk to Bruce Campbell and some others. No Sam Raimi, unfortunately, but they do talk
Mm.
about why they made it and the decisions on why. But going off of the Being Mia and a couple other things, it is with Jane Levy. She does record herself. She does like a little diary. She doesn't show it, but she talks about how she does act like a brat. That it was just the film was so taxing that, especially during the blood rain, that she just kind of became that person. Um, uh, but yet Bruce Campbell and basically all the original Evil Dead, like producers, sent emails and told them in rehearsals and auditions that this is going to be the most grueling movie you've ever made. Like this is you're going to be exhausted. So anything else in comparison, this is
Hmm.
going to be like a cakewalk. And and you could see that in this that it must have been. I mean, especially if you've ever watched the behind the scenes of the Evil Dead, the original, especially with the women and of everything that they all had to go through just to make that movie. So, and I really like this director. I'm a big fan of this director. So,
He's
and the
I
writer too.
yeah. Well, he co-wrote it with another person who
Well,
uh
that's his buddy. They
right.
they grew up together and they went to school together and they for like Don't Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
The director of this, I was mispronouncing his name. I thought it was like Fred D, but it's like
No,
it's not.
Fide. It's like Fide or something.
Yeah, it's like yeah, Fide. And and then his writing partner. So the director of this did Don't Breathe 1, and they switched. And then the other guy did Don't Breathe 2,
Okay.
which is nice. So one guy was the director, the other guy was the producer. They both wrote it. And then for the second film, they just switched positions, but they still wrote it together. So I think that's kind of cool that
Yeah,
two
it's pretty
friends
neat.
could do that. The Don't Breathe films are a little, I like them, but you know, when you realize that your hero is a rapist and a kidnapper, and that's who you're supposed to be rooting for, makes it a little difficult. But it's still, they're still good movies, and they always use the same guy to do their score. So, and I love this soundtrack.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it, with the like the air raid siren, that whenever something bad would happen, it sounds like there's an air raid coming. So
Yep.
I love this film. I really liked this one and Evil Dead Rise for different reasons, but I think I mentioned this on the last one. I would rather watch these two than the original three, because I've just seen the original three like a
Oh, well,
billion frigging
that
times.
that's an understandable thing in a way because they're newer and when you haven't seen something so many times. But I'm one of those people that love watching movies over and over and over again. In fact, anytime that I'm not reviewing something on like say like on a Friday, like tomorrow, I'm not reviewing anything and I don't have anything to really worry about for Friday and Saturday, I don't think. I'm just gonna be like, I might just watch something I've seen a billion times, just to just sit down and just watch, right? Because like most of the time they're just comfort to me. Like Ed Wood, the movie Ed Wood, I could watch that a billion, over and over and
Oh,
over
that's
again.
good for inspiration. Like that, Bowfinger, and a few other ones I always watch for inspiration.
Yeah, or Disaster Artist, in a way,
Even,
like,
yeah, even that. That's a good one.
um, but you probably wouldn't agree with the other one that they did, the one that was like Dynamite,
Oh, Dolomite Is My Name.
Dolmite is my name.
I liked it, except that I just thought that they just took the script from Ed Wood and just changed the title and the names. There's even dialogue taken from Ed Wood.
It's the same writers too, right? So
Yeah,
it was like they
yeah.
just were just like, we're tired of writing, and
It's there's the scene with with Ed Wood on the phone. He goes, worst movie you've ever seen. Well, my next one will be better. And then in Dolomite Is My Name, Eddie Murphy's, the Dolomite is on the phone, and I just lost a little bit of my light. And he's like, damn it. He's like, worst movie you've ever seen. Well, my next one will be better. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Really?
maybe they're just, they're like everybody knows us as the Ed Wood
I'm
guys,
sorry. I
so
know
let's,
this isn't the most attractive thing, but okay, that's better.
they were like this, they know us as the Ed Wood guys. Maybe we should throw an Ed Wood, nod or whatever. I don't know.
No, I just think it's lazy.
Yeah, maybe. I like to think of the positive. Like, you like to go completely on probably what actually happened. I like to go on the positive and think that maybe they were just, because if I talk to them, they'll be like, yeah, that's your idea. That's what happened. We weren't lazy. We agree with you.
Well, it's a formula that worked for Ed Wood.
Right.
So, it's funny to kind of get back to this for in a way, is since this is a remake, I've been collecting the films of Simon West, and who's, kind of, if Michael Bay's here, he's kind of down here. If you watch Con Air, you could swear it's a Michael Bay movie.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
I always thought Con Air was for a while.
no, it
Because of
has nothing to do with him
because
at
of the
all.
Rock, I guess, and stuff. So, but yeah, no, they're
Nothing.
completely different. Yeah.
So I'm halfway through When a Stranger Calls, the remake,
Hmm.
which has very little to do with the original, but I've never seen it. And this film is not that old. Wow, is it dated? Wow. I forgot that cell phones had minutes. And that's why she's babysitting. Is she went 800 minutes over. And it cost the parents so much money that they're punishing her and not allowing her to go do like a school activity that she wants to go to. So she has to go babysit because she ran out of minutes. And I forgot that caller ID was a thing. Like now we just the person's name comes right up. We don't even think about,
Well, I mean,
hey,
then
who
you think it's
was that person?
Scream 2 used that to their advantage when he was like
But
Corey
it's
Gillis 555-2467.
yeah, I guess with something like Scream 2, maybe because it's well written, I didn't even think about it.
Right.
And even with this, I mean, it's 2013. Um, I the film looks very 80s. It feels
Right.
80s. Like nobody is hopping on a cell phone. They're they you got the lead, one of the
I think
main
they do at
guys with the
one
long
point
hair.
because they didn't call 911, did they?
No.
Why
No, they
didn't
just said that we need to get her to a doctor or then we need to get her to a hospital.
why didn't unless because I can understand them in the beginning of the movie saying like we don't have any cell service here, or whatever. They,
I think a better way of handling that instead of saying it, which they say throughout when a stranger calls of why this girl cannot connect to any of her friends or anybody because there's a storm, is just not to bring it up. So my thought was because they're trying to get the friend off drugs, there's just no cell phones. Like we're not even going to bring the cell phones. We're not going to talk about cell phones. We're not going to, we're not going to make it easy to call the local sheriff when when the river is kind of like over, when it's flooding.
yeah, like
So you just don't even bring cell phones into the picture.
yeah, because I didn't even once think about it, like when I was watching it.
No. And they have pictures on the wall. They just look like regular pictures. They don't look like they're
It would have
scans
been
or
cute if it were Polaroids. Yeah.
and that's a thing. People do Polaroids. I've seen those cameras now.
Are they still doing them?
Yeah, but they're more like electronic one where it is a camera and then the film will come out, but it's all digital now. But it
Uh,
is a Polaroid
I don't
camera.
I don't like digital Polar. I feel like that's I don't know. Because well, I was so happy when I got like my first digital camera, like to take pictures of and everything. I was like, oh my God, all I gotta do is like put a little card in here and I can just go click, 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 and then I can put it up online or whatever, like I felt so fucking special. I don't have to use Polaroids anymore, and you know what I mean? Or have like a big ass like real camera, like I can do this myself. I don't
Well,
have to
with
be
the
a
lead
photographer.
actress in this, and when she's shooting her behind the scenes stuff, it's with one of those handy cams. So she's got
Nice.
the little side piece out, and it's kind of like she's like this with it. She's looking in the mirror. It's just this little giant camera that she's just holding in her hand. And then when she goes on set, she goes, "Here, hold this," and the person continues like shooting her for her behind the scenes. But it's big enough to where she's like, "Here, hold this." But it is like this size.
Nice.
So it's just it's funny how you think about these things for because even like the first Scream is with Drew Barrymore holding that giant ass phone when she's being dragged.
Hmm.
You look at that now and you're just like, fuck, that thing is huge.
Yeah.
But back then that's all we had.
But I thought that was a regular phone. That wasn't like her cell phone, was it?
It was just a regular phone,
Yeah, it was a regular like
but it was a
yeah.
big phone with the antenna, and it was just like wow, you
But
don't really
then
see.
and then in Scream later when Billy comes into the was it the comes to check on her or whatever, like Sydney, and then he grabs her and then all of a sudden his cell phone pops up. It's like one of those really big ass cell phones. You're just like, oh boy,
Yeah. Well, even
like
with what a stranger calls their flip phones. So
yeah.
there's landlines and flip phones, and they keep flipping the phone. And it's yeah, because I didn't even think about that actually until you just brought it up that there are no cell phones in Evil Dead. That it's not even mentioned.
Yeah. Um, in Scary Story Slumber Party, the movie I made, I had two short films that had two of my different phones in them. One was a flip phone and one was a what are those forgot what they're fucking called. It was sort of annoying because you would actually be able to like bring it out or BlackBerry. It's BlackBerry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so I had a BlackBerry and a flip phone. And I thought, fuck, I get my phones like in my movies, but those are of the time. Those are what,
Right.
sort of everybody was going smartphone at that time too. And I was just like, I'm not going fuck smartphones, blah blah blah. They cost too much. Now I can't live without my smartphone.
Oh no, we're like glued to it. So I will say on a different note with this though, because you'd mentioned how much you liked it, is when I first saw this, I hated it.
Really?
I absolutely hated it.
What
It
was it
took
that you
me
hated?
I by the time we got to the end of the movie, if I'm like, if this is all in her head and she's going to wake up and it's going to be the ending of the Wizard of Oz and all of her friends are going to be around her and they're going to be like, oh, look, you survived the night. You made it. You're no longer addicted to drugs. I was going to be really mad because, and still watching it today, which might have been my fourth time watching it, I still kind of thought like, is this all in her head? Because it's if you notice in the ending fight between her and like the demon, that she doesn't have any damage to her face. Like there's no cuts, there's no, the rain falling, yeah, but there's no like blood, there's no the burn that she gets from the shower is not there. But all that stuff is on like the demon girl, like the demon version of her popping up. And I'm like, is that heroin? Is that meant to be heroin? And like she's kicked the habit so she looks normal and pretty, and then the demon is meant to be heroin coming after her, chasing her, because they say that it's the monkey on your back.
Right.
Like it is it coming out, and I don't know, I still wonder that today, like, is a lot of this in her head? I like the movie, but like, and then she fights it and wins, and it goes back into the earth
Hmm.
because she's defeated her demon.
That's actually a good thought. I wasn't getting that, and I'm an addict. And so I'm not addicted to heroin. I never did heroin because dear good Lord, I would never want to be on that shit. Especially after watching this movie, I'm like, good God, this person's crazy. That's what happens when you get withdrawals and shit. But I've had alcohol withdrawal, and that's no fun. And there are hallucinations and other shit that happens. So it could. But I would say no, only because um that would have to mean that she watched all of these other everybody else doing everything, like when the one guy's, read the saying.
The best character in the movie.
I liked him a lot, yeah. At first I didn't like him. I wasn't sure.
I
I was
liked his
like,
look because he had kind of like a 70s grindhouse look, and I thought that he was the best.
he was
The other
very
guy who was like this, like her brother. I'm
right.
like, oh man, if they meant this guy to be the next Bruce Campbell,
No, no, no,
no
no, no. I would
way.
say that the other guy was more like Bruce Campbell, than the brother. The brother was like the problem I had the movie on at times just that I like Shiloh, the guy who plays the brother, but I just felt like I just didn't buy necessarily him uh because I just saw him as like some kind of jock kind of character.
He's a so you get that Olivia, who's
Mm.
the hottest one there, who's just gorgeous. She's a nurse. So then we got the lead girl who's our drug
I
addict.
think is the hottest girl. Obviously I put her on the thing
Yes,
here.
and you did make her all messed up. You put a good
Good
picture of her
picture
up
of her.
there.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
well, I
and
could have done an ugly one, but I wanted to show how gorgeous she was.
yeah, she is beautiful. And yeah, the audio commentary for this is it's her, it's the director, the writer, who's also one of the producers, and then it's two of the other actors. So I'm guessing that even through everything they went through, they were fine with the film to do the audio commentary since nobody's obligated to do those things. But it's so her brother, I'm like, what is his character? And then you see at the end when he takes the car battery and he's setting it all up and he's taping the needles together and he's putting the
Yeah.
wires. And I'm like, okay, so this guy knows something about electronics. And then I saw on his key ring that he has a spark, a spark plug.
Mm,
So I'm like, oh, okay, he's a grease monkey. He's like a mechanic. So he knows cars. He knows,
I
you know,
guess I got
how that's
jock out of him. I don't know, like,
no, I
uh,
think a jock would have like a football or something on there, but
but I
he's
would have
got
thought
the
a grease
spark
monkey would
plug.
have had like a leather jacket or something, you know? I mean, I know that's like 50s, but like that's what I think of, you know? Like we did disturbing behavior and that he didn't look like the guy who was the grease monkey in disturbing behavior to me. Like, you know, I don't know. Then I would never have thought cars and stuff. And I didn't even notice that was a spark plug. I just thought it
Yeah,
was
it's a spark plug. And then the blonde, we have no idea who she is at all. I mean, even the guy with the long hair and the glasses, I thought they had mentioned lawyer, that he was like going to school to be a lawyer, but then in the behind the scenes, he talks about being a school teacher.
okay.
So I guess that
That would
he's
sort of
supposed to
make
be
sense.
something like a
M-
history school
I
teacher.
I would say history because he knew some of the like some of the Latin or whatever it was, like he knew how to say those specific words that, brought the demon out, They look kind
Yeah,
of, easy to say, but
well, and he mentions in the behind the scenes that he goes, well, that's why his character takes such an interest in
yeah.
the book, is because he's like a high school teacher, and so he's curious about the book.
I mean, I kind
But
of
just
would have liked
blonde
to
has no character at all. She's just
well,
blonde.
yeah, I think her character's name was Natalie, and I think she was just the supportive girlfriend who was there to help her. Like, I don't even know if she really even knew anyone there. And that's I'm saying this because from speculation of the brother apparently hadn't been there for like a decade or something, hadn't like seen her sister for a while,
Yeah,
'cause he said
he just split when the mom got sick, and
yeah.
then left
And
the
so
left Mia with her when she was too young to handle it.
right. Um what did Mia do? Like what was her thing? 'Cause other than a heroin addict, what else did
That
she do?
that's her character. I think
Uh,
that's it. Nothing else is. Well, I mean, probably student because she is wearing the Michigan State,
that's true.
shirt. Which of course is a nod to
Yeah.
Evil Dead and Sam
Yeah,
Raimi and stuff. But
yeah, the
so
Michigan
maybe college student.
probably.
But
Um,
I do have to say I didn't feel sorry for her at all. I don't feel sorry for drug addicts. And if you're an alcoholic, that's in your brain. There's a chemical, there's something. But people who there's nothing that has to say that you need to put a needle in your arm. And
well,
so I didn't feel sorry for her in the same way that somebody should not feel sorry for me because I'm overweight. I chose to eat the Big Mac. Nobody forced me to eat the Big Mac.
I mean, to the extent, I'd probably disagree just because I know a lot of addicts, because but I, you know, I think it is. I think all addiction is a chemical. Now, like, okay, we have an addiction to buying movies, you know. That doesn't mean we buy movie, like we can stop ourselves from doing it at times if we need to. But
That's why I don't call it. I don't think that's an addiction because I was buying, for like that whole year, buying from all those sales, and then I just stopped. It was just like I got too many movies.
maybe you don't have an addiction. Some people are like addicted to that.
I
Like,
do. If you, I mean, I would say probably food. I mean, I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I just eat to eat. If I'm watching a movie, I normally want something to nibble on.
but
So there is a problem there, but at the same time, take control of your life. And
when
it,
it's heroin, it's different.
but once
And
again, nobody told it, nobody says you have to do it.
right. And and they could just very well, if they had decided, they could have just said, screw it, we'll put her to the hospital, they'll deal with the withdrawal, and then after that, whatever happens to her is her fault, like is her case. Because that's what a lot of families do, like with addicts. They just let them go and be addicts. A friend of mine passed. I think a lot of it had to do with alcoholism, but a lot of it also had to do with drugs. And after a while, you know, it becomes too much for the family, especially if they're paying for like rehabs or they're paying for, other things, and the person doesn't want to quit. That's on them. If you don't want to quit, that's your choice, you know? And when it comes to drugs, some people just don't want to because they like that high that they have. They like that feeling. They'd rather have that feeling than the feeling of real life. And so I get the thing, but and I don't know if I don't feel bad for I've gotten to this point where I'm friends with a lot of people who are addicts and alcoholics and whatnot. And if they choose to go back out, I let them, you know? Like if that's what you want to do, that's up to you, man. I don't want to. So I'm staying over here. You do you. And if you're able to stop later, that's cool with me. Like come hang out with me, but I do not hang out with people who are excessively drinking anymore, like getting drunk like that. I do not hang out with people who do like nasty pot. I don't care. I literally don't even I know it's a drug, but I almost don't even like consider it the same. I almost consider it the same as smoking cigarettes. Like it is mind altering and it's mood altering,
Well,
but
and that's another thing that I have. I also don't feel sorry for people who smoke cigarettes and get lung
yeah,
cancer because once again, nobody said that you had to smoke cigarettes. Nobody did.
it is an
And
addictive thing, so you can
it's an
stop.
addictive thing because of what's in the cigarette. I mean,
Right.
it's and so it's purposely put in there, except that the tobacco company is a business and they're allowed to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
So but if nobody smoked, then that they would go out of business. There's I think that there are just certain things within a person's brain that alcohol, for example, that when you do drink, it triggers something.
Right.
And I don't have that. You do. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. But you and I don't have something in our brain that says we must try heroin or
Well,
we must
because I never
smoke.
did heroin.
Well,
And
and
I
but if you did heroin, you get addicted to it because that's what heroin does.
right. And then
So
I would
don't do
have to
heroin
yeah,
then.
so don't do it. But some people, I mean, I don't know. The problem I have with this too, for this is like she looks too clean cut to be a heroin junkie. Like, I mean, she does not kind of fit what I would normally like. They didn't even make her look that bad when she was having withdrawals.
That's I think that's a tough one because it's yeah, maybe she should have like screwed up teeth or kind of black and blue in
That's
the
more, I think is
face
that
and
more like meth is the screwed up teeth.
yeah, maybe. And it's but if you look at somebody like Scott Weiland, the guy who was the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots, he had a fucking six pack. I mean, this guy was built
And he still
and
did heroin.
he still did heroin and died.
Well,
So
was he an addict on heroin or was he
yeah,
just a person who
that's
just did it a couple
no,
times and
he
then died?
no. That's why like Velvet Revolver broke up, and they said that he could only stay in the band if he wouldn't, got
No,
off
it
heroin,
sucks.
and and eventually he was on like a tour bus by himself, and they found him dead because he OD'd. But it's if you look at their music videos and you look at interviews with him, the guy looks fine. He looks good. Philip Seymour Hoffman, the guy was fat,
I mean,
and he OD'd in a bathtub.
I never did heroin. Nobody's ever asked me to do heroin, thank God, and I would have said no anyway. But I have done pot, which is not a big deal. I've done spice. That was shitty pot, crappy pot, which and then I had done what's that? Well, I snorted Ritalin, which was stupid. And I did that the same night I did uh mushrooms, shrooms, and I will never do any of that shit again. I didn't get addicted off of any of them. I had no interest ever in doing them again. But and I didn't like the feeling, I didn't like any of that stuff. But I did like drinking. I liked the feeling I got when I got drunk. And that was a big problem with me. And the biggest problem with that is it's just legal everywhere. As long as you're 21, you're legal to drink, you know, and it's kind of, or if you go to like Europe, younger, than that. But
Well, and that's why with this, so they try to help her. The friends try to help her once, and then basically when they got out to the cabin, she just repeated the same thing over
mm,
again. So they knew that this was probably going to be an issue. Uh, um, but it's yeah, I don't know. Maybe I mean even something like you brought up like collecting movies and stuff. I only have like three more movies coming in. That's it. And I'm going to stop for a while because I just I need to work on other stuff and save some money. But it's like I like getting the movies in the mail. I enjoy sharing that I got the movies. I
mhm.
like for people to be kind of involved in it. But it's nothing that you know if I just had to stop, I would
You
just
would stop.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not.
but you never
Food is
crossed
my only thing. I think food is it.
you never crossed a line when doing that where it became a thing. And like, look, I mean, sure, there are times where I probably took too many DVDs and ordered too many on eBay just because it's just so easy to go, hey, I want that for $5. Let me click that on my app. And you know what I mean? Like, it's that easy to do that. And then you like go, oh shit, I shouldn't have overspent, you know? Um, there's weird things. There's like anonymous, like help or whatever, like AA kind of things for like debtors anonymous. I just found that out recently. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, you know. It's DA, instead of AA, debtors anonymous,
Yeah.
and it's just for people who need to wean themselves off of like buying too much shit, or
Yeah,
or
you have to. I mean, we're all in debt, I would imagine, in one way or another. That's just the American way. But
American.
I mean, America.
Hmm.
And I mean, I have a spreadsheet that my friend told me to use, and I just put everything onto the spreadsheet. And it doesn't matter what my checking account says, I go off the spreadsheet. So I could have $10,000 in my checking account, but if my spreadsheet says I have $5 until next payday, that's what I
Right.
got. I got $5. So it's so I wasn't 100%, you know, I appreciate the friends trying to help her and stuff. And I disagreed. I think it's her name is Olivia, the nurse who goes, I'm giving her the same type of treatment that a hospital would.
Yeah.
And no, I completely disagree with that.
Yeah, like she is. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have IV. She doesn't have
Yeah,
uh
that's
the thing with withdrawals and stuff is you really generally need a hospital, to get yourself off withdrawals. Because withdrawals are nasty, you know. I've had alcohol withdrawal. It is not fun. It makes you really dehydrated. I didn't see them giving her any water. or anything. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they
Uh,
could have at least done that.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that you have to do to get your wean yourself off of whatever stuff you're going through and you have to be like if you're going to help somebody, you need to be by their bedside because they're going to have convulsions. They're going to possibly like if they have convulsions, they could just throw up and swallow their throw up. There's a lot of really nasty shit that goes with withdrawal. This didn't even show that, and I was kind of disappointed because like it just sort of kind of glosses over the actual withdrawal stuff and then just goes to her going, "Okay, I need to go drive away," and all that. You know what I mean? Like when it should have shown all that stuff and really made you wonder if she was seeing all that shit for real, because
Well,
I,
because they thought that she was. She
but then
said that she saw somebody in the woods.
they
Yeah,
started seeing all the stuff. So
there would have been nice if there was some. It's almost like they expected her to fail, and that they would just drive back, because it's like you said. Yeah, there was like no water. There was like, especially if you have a nurse there, you think that she would probably bring some sort of kit
right.
with her,
I
and
didn't know she was a
and
nurse until you just said I don't remember hearing that.
the
So,
I think the blonde goes, "Oh, you're a doctor," and then she goes, "No, I'm
oh,
like a
registered nurse, that's right.
registered nurse." Yeah, and um, you would think that, okay, so if they want Mia to succeed, and I don't know exactly what time period this is supposed to take place in, but maybe do things that would take her mind off of it. Don't just lock her in a room and then just have her screaming because she's having withdrawals. Do something else. Like, they literally brought nothing. You didn't see food.
Mm-mm.
You didn't
Yeah,
see
and this was
anything.
going to be more than one day. This is going to be like a whole weekend, right? Like that was the plan is to get her done through the whole weekend, right?
I would think it'd be more than a day. I mean, they didn't bring a sleeping bag. They didn't bring a backpack. They didn't bring anything. You,
And they
you
didn't
didn't
talk about
see.
how they got the cabin, which is a little weird because
Oh no,
like
it's their cabin.
it's their cabin.
It's the mom. Yeah, it's the parents' cabin. That's why there's all the pictures of them on the wall.
But then why was there the stuff in like the this why didn't they ever find that book before? Like why,
Be-
the Book of the Dead and all that stuff.
because they haven't. So when they first get there, the brother finds the crowbar
Hmm.
and goes, "Somebody broke in."
Uh,
I assume that's the people at the beginning of the movie who burned the girl
that's right.
in the
We
basement,
totally
and they put
forgot
up.
about that scene. Like
Yeah,
we
they
didn't
put
talk
up.
about that.
Yeah, which I thought was fine. I didn't like seeing all the dead cats, but
Yeah.
because for some reason, whenever you're doing these things, you always have to kill cats
Or
or even
dogs.
dogs or
Poor
sometimes
little
chickens where you
what
cut
was
their
that
heads off.
dog's name? The poor dog in the movie. Grandpa or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't know exactly what happened to Grandpa. We only see in the brother's head that Mia's with the hammer
Okay.
beating but we don't see the dog. It's, the hammer is going below the screen, but he's, I'm taking it that's in his head, that didn't actually happen, because how would he know that would happen? So he would assume that it was Mia,
Hmm.
and which really serves no purpose to the plot. I mean, it just gets the brother mad,
Okay.
and
I don't.
and he kind of storms in while she's taking the shower and burns herself. But yeah, they seem very ill prepared for,
Mhm.
if this was going to be 2 nights or even just one night. You think that they bring, because they don't know what it's like. They haven't been up there for a while, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
So is there even electricity? Is there even, because it's not a generator. We don't see them working with a generator. He
Nope.
just turns the power on. He fiddles with it a little bit, and then the power's on.
Yep. So I don't so anyway, I was I, um the beginning, if you go back to the beginning of the movie, the opening, where this girl is running and we see her being chased or whatever, and then caught, and then we think she's being kidnapped, right? Because that's what you're led to believe, she's being kidnapped
Yeah,
by
they put
what we think is a cult.
the bag
Yeah,
over her head.
bag
Yeah,
over her head, and then she is captured and everything, and her father's there, and she's like, "What are you doing to me? Oh my God, Dad!" And I was like, "Oh man, I feel sorry for this chick. What's going on here?" Until she's like, I will rip out your soul. And she says it like a normal, like, I will rip out your soul, like normal conversation. And then she's like, I will rip out your soul, right? And you're like, okay, this is awesome. She is now, this is why, because it's like, there's no way she killed, like, that cute little girl could have killed her mom. Well, sure, demon, from Evil Dead demons, or whatever. So I guess,
yeah.
yeah, I guess somehow or another they left the book in that broke into that cabin, left the book there,
They left the
hoping.
book all sealed up with barbed wire, and then they left the shotgun and a couple shells next to it. And so I guess when they left, they took the daughter with her blown off head,
I would
and
hope so. Because
but
we didn't see
left
her. We seen her.
everything else. So like
Yeah,
maybe the cats were supposed to stop the evil.
and it didn't. Sorry, cats.
I do like that the Evil Dead books look different, since we know that there are, from Army of Darkness, three of them.
Hmm.
But in Army of Darkness, they all look the same.
I'm
But
guessing in the third one it's going to be a different one.
I'm hoping we get a third, and the book is different, because each time it looks kind of cool. It's fine that it looks different because it's gone from person to person. How many
Hmm.
times has this happened, but we don't know about it.
Right.
So, I mean, even with the flaws of this film, I still really like it. It's just us talking about it. Yeah, because I didn't even think about water. I didn't think about
Cell
just
phones.
extra clothes or anything. Yeah,
You
cell
think about
phones or
but see, the good thing about it is you were so absorbed in the movie that you never thought about that. You just, just this didn't even it just didn't even register. And some movies you watch them and you're like, oh, why didn't they bring water at least, and stuff like that, or you know what I mean? Like some things you can just it will take you out of it and you'll start noticing those little things. But this movie, you're so kind of engrossed in what's going on, and you kind of care about at least about the brother and the other guy. Once again, like this is 2013. This is before like things became a little too crazy with political agendas and stuff. And the guys are just nice guys, apparently they didn't like each other for whatever reason. They never give us
well, because the guy just split. The brother just split. Like
right,
he
but
didn't tell anybody, he didn't do anything, and
what was
he
that
he
concern of him for like he wasn't dating that girl or anything. So what was that concern for him? Like why did he was he like best friends with the guy and then when he split like their
well,
friendship?
they're all friends. The brother left Mia, who it sounds like she was, not very well equipped to take care of the mother. And then you know, the whole thing with Mia getting addicted to drugs, I'm gonna guess, is probably because the mother died.
Hmm.
And then she wasn't equipped for it. So he wasn't there for that. And I always love and I think it was Olivia who says, well, he's here now.
Right.
And I've heard that now in a couple movies and TV shows, and I'm like, that's not an excuse.
That's not an
I'm
excuse.
sorry. I've never. I'm 56. I've never met my father, and then all of a sudden, if he knocked on my door and he's like, "But I'm here now," I'd kick him over the fucking railing.
Yep.
It's like, no, that's not. And then you're going to bring the brother brings his girlfriend, who Mia thought it was just going to be him. And
Yeah.
it's weird that the girlfriend, the blonde girlfriend, that she doesn't really have a character, but she has the longest rampage of causing torture
Yeah.
because she does like the nail gun and the poor guy who reads the book. And I was wondering, like, are they torturing him because he read the book? Like he read it out loud? Because he's getting needles in his fucking eye. He's getting stabbed and he's getting nails shot into him. And it's like he even had the like the shovel or whatever she was using, like cut his hand open. And
Pretty
it's like, God,
nasty.
they're really torturing this guy. And it's like, is it because he read the book? Because
I don't
nobody else is getting tortured like this.
I mean that could be, but I don't think so. I think it's just um because yeah, well, Olivia, the nurse girl, I mean, she starts cutting her fucking face like that, and everything. So, I mean, they were
But
just
that's the
trying.
worst that happens to her.
Oh, except
I
for
mean,
her
this,
getting her like, didn't she get like her head blown off and shit? So, I mean, that's the worst, you know.
yeah, but she's cutting her face and she's already possessed. She gets like her head blown off. She's already possessed. The guy with the blonde hair and the glasses is still human.
Right. And he wanted. There was that great line, and it was like, I'd just rather be dead than be hell's bitch, or the devil's bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of laughed at that because I was also thinking, man, that's actually sort of true. I'd
Well,
rather
at that
die.
point,
I'd
yeah.
rather die if I'm getting tortured like that because you're out of pain then. Um, but then he
Some
does become the devil's bitch and ends up, going after them.
burning. Yeah. So it's you got to wonder when somebody writes something of why one person gets tortured more than the other. One that gets brought up all the time is Jurassic World, and it's the woman who's looking after the two kids. So that are wandering around the park, and then when all the dinosaurs are attacking at the end, she's trying to protect the kids. Like we really have no idea who she is. She's done absolutely nothing wrong. She was just there to make sure that the kids are okay. And all of a sudden, like a pterodactyl comes down, picks her up, brings her up to the sky. Another pterodactyl pull her in half, and then the freaking giant like crocodile dinosaur jumps out of the water and eats the pterodactyls. And it's like, what the hell did this person do? They did nothing, but yet she is the most tortured person in that movie for no reason at all.
That's because they need to torture someone.
I
I
guess,
mean, they couldn't do it to Chris Pratt, so
no, because they need him to come back in two shit sequels. But they are making another one though.
without Chris Pratt, from what I understand.
That's fine with me. So that's it's done from the guy who's doing the new Godzilla. So I'm fine with that.
Oh,
Or he's done. No, is it Gareth? No, I
I
think it's the
think
guy who did the first Godzilla.
First Godzilla, if it's Gareth, because the Wingard did the new Godzilla.
Yeah, I think
He would,
it's the first Godzilla.
he
So
would,
that's
Wingard could do Jurassic World if they did like the sequel. That'd be interesting if they get the Godzilla people and Kong people to do the Jurassic World movies.
Jurassic
Uh,
Skull Island,
yeah,
Jurassic Island, and there'd be all the monsters on there plus dinosaurs. So yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
this is a according to the poster, it's like the most terrifying film that you'll ever see. I wouldn't say that,
I
but
wouldn't definitely wouldn't say that. I watched in the dark and I wasn't scared. But I mean, demon movies generally do kind of creep me out. Like, I don't like, when I don't know, like, who's a demon, Like, there's that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington,
that's a good one.
and it scared the shit out of me when I was young. When it first came out, it was 97. I was in high school, and I watched that shit. I think it was 97 or 98. I was in high school, and I brought it home on VHS, and I was like, I'm excited to watch this. And I got spooked because you never knew who the demon was. He would just possess whoever you would go
Well,
body
they
to
did
body.
they did the whistle. I think it was a Rolling Stone song that they're whistling or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it was
that's
really
how we
creepy.
knew. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really creepy. And then when they would show up, and it was just, and I've always been like fascinated by that kind of stuff of like the faculty having the scenes where you didn't know if Jordana Brewster uh was one of the aliens or not, and I've always sort of been kind of terrified by those because when they show up, you're like, oh shit, I didn't expect that person to be right? And so in the beginning of the movie where the girl's a demon, or whatever, but you think she's a nice, sweet girl, completely caught me off guard. I was like, I should be thinking that she's a demon. This is an Evil Dead fucking movie. Like, I should be thinking that, but like, they did it well enough where I just thought she was some poor girl that was being tortured by like maybe by demons. Maybe her dad
I
was.
was almost, I mean, I knew even when, because I saw this in the theater, I knew that she would eventually go Evil Dead, but it would have been interesting if she was okay, and then they did like the whole Salem witch trials on her,
And
and
then she
and and
wasn't like
and she
that
was
or whatever.
perfectly fine. Yeah, they just burned his daughter for for no reason at all. But then you wouldn't have a very interesting beginning because
Yeah.
you wouldn't shoot her
You would
head or
have
anything.
somebody once, I wrote this script. I won't say what it is or anything, but I wrote this one script that sort of started off and it had like a suicide in it or whatever, but it didn't have like it wasn't horror, right? And this guy, this producer, one of his notes to me was that this felt like a Lifetime movie, not a horror film, where it was like a
Hey,
suicide
you
or
like
whatever by
Lifetime?
hanging. I do. So it wasn't, but we were trying to make a horror film. So it was a little bit like, oh shit, maybe I should ramp it up. And I made it more scary. Like I made it more terrifying in the opening and fixed it up where it was more like a horror film and not some dude hanging himself, as a suicide, right? And I made it so he was sort of the demon possessed him to kill himself, or whatever, kind of thing in the beginning. But there's that thing of like you're saying, like if they had just, burned her, that's more Lifetime, that's more like, where it's not very terrifying or scary when it becomes the demon and then they're torturing her and she's whatever, saying you're
Well, and we've already had three Evil Dead movies, so if she didn't turn into a demon, I think I'd be pretty disappointed. But a lot of the stuff is that it's all allegories. I mean, this Evil Dead is drug addiction. You look at something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and that's about communism. You, you know, even something like Dawn of the Dead is all about consumerism.
hmm
So it's a lot of this stuff has a deeper meaning. I don't really know where I would put Evil Dead Rise because it is the mother, getting at the kids. So
it's a
this is something
broken family life, I guess.
I don't know, but they seem to be okay.
Well, no, they
But
were moving, remember? They were
yeah, but they
like
weren't moving because of them. They were moving because they sold the apartment, sold the rise, the high rise, and
but they couldn't stay there. They had to stay somewhere else. And it was I think it really was about a family coming together to, to help each other, and stuff
but
and
that wouldn't be
whatnot.
an allegory, though. I mean, it would be, you could say that the reason why they picked the mother to get possessed is about motherhood. That is her reactions to motherhood, but they seem to have a pretty good family, even with the sister
Yeah.
or the mother's sister.
Well,
That
yeah. This
that
one
was
was definitely about drugs, and
yeah, and I with the audio commentary, I did, like I said, I did watch all of the behind the scenes stuff. They were pretty short; they were 10 minutes or less. And then I thought of watching the audio commentary. I'm like, I'm just kind of Evil Dead out.
mhm.
So I didn't want to, but I would be interested in talking to the director to find out, is this a Wizard of Oz type of thing, or is when she's walking down the road, is a truck going to pick her up? And then all of a sudden we'll see in Return of the Evil Dead, the sequel to this, that that she's still possessed. It kills the truck driver and drives away or something.
Was that his original
Kind of
plan?
like the last Paranormal Activity, kind of like that type of thing.
Well, and this is interesting because like if you look at Evil Dead 2013, then you look at Evil Dead Rise, they almost feel like, even though they feel like they're Evil Dead movies, they feel like they're Evil Dead anthology films. You know what I mean? Because like even though they're
Oh
not
yeah.
short, but like feature anthology films because they are, just one focus of something, but they're not like a continual story. We're not going to see probably other characters from the Evil Dead Rise into the new Evil Dead movie. It's just going to be a brand new movie, but with, the Deadites, whatever the demons come
Yeah,
out.
and that's something that Bruce Campbell brings up, that he didn't want to do a remake because he didn't want. He goes, no, he goes, nobody else can play Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they brought it up, of then don't have Ash in it,
Yeah.
just make it a completely different group of people. And then he's like, oh, okay, I'm down with that.
And I'm
So
glad, like, because remember, I think on Evil Dead Rise, we talked about how they should have called the girl Ashley or something because it was a girl, might as well call it Ashley. But I'm glad they called it Mia because she's a different character.
oh,
She's not Ash.
I don't want a female Ash. No, I don't.
No,
No.
you don't need a female Ash. You need somebody who's her own character who can survive. She's a final girl, even though she does die. And that was the thing I liked before was that they
Does
mentioned
she?
how she hold on. So they mentioned like she had apparently died before and then got brought back to life by a defibrillator. So when he puts the bag over her head and and she's trying to say, "Oh, I'm okay, you should let me go," and he's like, "You're the demon," and he's like, "Oh, fuck you, just let me out of here," right? And he's suffocating the demon and everything, and then the demon dies, right? And then he takes the thing, he shocks her and whatnot, and then we think she just didn't make it through, right? But then you see her, and I was like going, "Uh-oh, she's the demon again," right? Just pretending to be that sister, right? And
Right.
then we get all the other stuff, and she wasn't. She was back to life. This was what happened to her before she gets this is like her not second chance because now it's her third chance at life and she was gonna do whatever she could to survive. That's what I got from it, that she was gonna do whatever she could to survive after this. I don't think anything was in her head. I think this is all like
So
Evil Dead.
the blood demon did come out of the ground, and they did have a fight,
Mm-hmm.
and she did cut the blood demon in half, and it went
Mm-hmm.
back into the earth. And by the way, behind the scenes, to make it more realistic, the Mia, the actress, was in the coffin fully covered.
Oh,
So the director, and she agreed to it, that they wanted the brother, the actor, to really feel that he needed to get her out. So he did. They put a like a piece of wood over her, and all the dirt was there. And so he did, as an actor, as a human being. He's like, "Fuck, I can't leave her down there." So that's why he's acting the way he is, trying to get her out. In real life, yes, she was actually buried.
yeah. It's kind of
And they even
scary.
show
I
her.
don't know.
They show taking the piece of wood, and she's like this, because I guess because of the shovel. And then once they take the wood off, she's like, "Can I come out now?" And the director's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And she's like, "Okay, good." And they start to help her out. Um, I still don't know. I don't.
I started
May,
thinking about it and I was like, I don't
maybe
think so.
she's,
So
but maybe she's dead. Maybe he never got her out. That's why I would like to talk to the director of this.
I don't
And
think he'll tell
and
you
I'm
the answer because I think it's sort of he would love probably that you wonder about that. And I don't think you'd want to know the answer because it like once you know the answer, it's like, oh, that's what you
But
want
it
to do.
angered me again watching it, going, if this is the friggin' Wizard of Oz, I'm gonna be mad.
You know how many times Paul has seen me get frustrated at these stupid independent films that at the end of the movie, all of a sudden it's a dream. It's all just a dream.
And
And
you
I'm
were
like,
there. And
yeah,
you were there.
but even without those, like I thought the Final Girls movie or whatever, where all of a sudden everybody was back, right? And they're in the hospital. And I was like, fuck. Is this all a dream? No, it wasn't a dream. You find out that it was an actual dream. They're in the sequel, and the sequel starts in the fucking hospital, like Michael Myers or whatever, right? Like Halloween 2 being in the
But
hospital.
that makes sense for that type of
Right,
movie, for what, because
right.
they're inside the movie.
Right. And you're right. But at first I got mad because when I watched it, because I was like, God damn it, was this all just a dream? Or did they all just get knocked out from the fire or something? They're all in the hospital and they're all fine. Like, all this stuff. But then they start talking about the everything they saw together and that, that it all happened. They're just now in the well, they thought the real world, they were not. They're in the sequel, you know. And
I mean,
so
yeah, I don't
I
know.
get frustrated because I do see that, and I see a lot of that, but they didn't do that with this movie. They very well could have had her wake up in the hospital and say like the sheriff found her, she was,
Well, I
whatever,
mean,
and
we'll never know because they didn't follow through in what they were going to say. And it's still, and I went to the end and saw Bruce Campbell say groovy, which pisses me off even more
it's stupid. It was the
because
dumbest thing I've ever seen.
it's a tease to something that never happened. Everybody asked if Bruce Campbell was going to be in the movie, so they just shot that ending thing to say, "Oh yeah, he's in the movie," and they had enough throwbacks to the original movie to where I was fine, especially with the car being there, and the necklace and some of the dialogue and stuff, that we didn't need Bruce to be there. And then we
Mm.
never did get the Evil Dead, like meets Evil Dead. We never got that. And then we find out, as we did with Evil Dead Rise, that according to the director, Ash could be in, what was it, like 1921 or 1821 or whatever date that was, because his voice is on the album warning people of the book. And
Yeah.
so the director's like, oh, yeah, he traveled back in time. And I'm like, what? Why aren't we getting any of this?
Yeah.
You know,
Why?
what?
Well, I mean, we did get Army of Darkness, which is him in the medieval times, and stuff. So we've gotten that. So we know he can time travel, I guess. Um, that and I mean, where in the world does like Ash versus the Evil Dead fit into this? It doesn't fit into this at all, you know. Um, so I don't know. I like this movie. I liked what I saw when I first watched it. I was like, oh wow, this is pretty decent, you know. This felt like somebody who was a fan of Evil Dead making an Evil Dead movie, you know? Like um somebody who actually really like respected the franchise, you know. Not these filmmakers who take a remake and they just fuck it up. Like I'm just gonna say David Gordon Green, I don't think he really cared about Halloween. I honestly
No,
don't. I
no.
think he cared about a paycheck. I think he cared about directing a horror film. He just didn't he fucked that shit up. This director should have done Halloween, you know. I would have loved to see what he would have done differently with Halloween. Um, but what is he doing now? What's that guy doing now?
I
Yeah.
actually have all of that up right here. So first, Evil Dead, box office wise, so budget was 17 million and it made 97.5 million.
So 1797, that's what good God, I'm really gonna be bad at math. 70 million, I guess, difference right there, like the $70 million profit.
Yeah, so this thing made money.
Yep.
So the director of it, He's done a bunch of short films, Spanish, and then he did Evil Dead, Don't Breathe, The Girl in the Spider's Web. He was writer and story or writer and producer on Don't Breathe 2. He was one of the producers and he did the story for the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Or
Oh shit,
oh,
that's right. He's doing Alien Romulus,
yep. I just
which
saw
I
that.
yeah, which I heard is actually pretty good. He directed an episode of From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, Calls.
So it says he's in development to do Evil Dead 2. I don't know if that's still going to be a thing because, they've been doing all these different movies, you know? So, and they did Evil Dead Rise, so I don't know what the next one's going to be called.
Oh my God,
Um,
he was the director of reshoots on Chaos Walking,
mm,
which is that unreleasable movie that got released. Like everybody said that film should not come out. Well, then the writer of this, he worked on a couple of the Spanish short films, and then we have Evil Dead, Don't Breathe, Evil Dead 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Alien Romulus. So there, other credits. He wrote and produced a song for The Girl in the Spider's Web. So they're friends. They definitely work together. So this thing made 97.5. Evil Dead Rise made more money. Made
okay.
140, yeah, 147. So 17 million budget on Evil Dead. This had roughly the same budget, 15 to 19 million, and it made 147 million compared
Jesus.
to Evil Dead 97.1. So even more reason for them to make a third film. Each one keeps making more money.
It's funny. I remember hearing, I don't know if it's from Sam Raimi or if it's from Bruce Campbell. It's probably from Bruce Campbell, but I remember hearing it's like, then making it independently, like it took them like 20 to 30 years before they were actually able to like make the money back and start making a profit off of the Evil Dead. you know. Nowadays they're making profits left and right with the sequels and stuff, but the
Sure.
first movie, because I guess it's just hard to just make, they weren't able to,
You know, that's what made me so angry with the film, and I'm not even sure if I finished it. They Call Me Bruce.
right?
Is I hated that they made him a drunk loser who lives in like a mobile home or something, lives in a trailer. And I thought that to me was really disrespectful. I
Right.
think that they should have just done the exact opposite and just had Bruce play Bruce, where he lives
Hmm.
in a mansion and he goes out on book tours and he goes to conventions and he's now living this whole life, and he can't be bothered with helping these people solve their problem, because now he's he's Elvis. He's the Elvis of horror movies, and he has to kind of be a little humble. He's got to come down a little bit to help these people. And I hated what they did to him. I think it's like one of the worst things I've ever seen. I'm not even sure I finished it.
I wasn't a big fan either. I think I'd never finished it too because I got kind of bored. It didn't feel like a uh Bruce Campbell, you know, movie, you know.
Yeah,
Uh
I think that they when they do these type of things, like they did that with Die Hard with a Vengeance. All of a sudden, John McClane is a hungover drunk who's popping aspirin the whole movie because he has a hangover.
I mean, it's supposed to give them a little bit of character, I guess,
How
like
how how about they do the why wouldn't doing the opposite? How about instead of John McClane being how he was in Die Hard 3, how about he just got back from his honeymoon? How about he's getting along great with his wife? Oh yeah, they didn't want Bonnie DeBillia to be in the movie. And Smokey and the Bandit 2 did the same thing. I remember as a kid, I loved Burt Reynolds, and Smokey and the Bandit was one of my favorite movies. So my mom dropped me off to go see Smokey and the Bandit 2. And the beginning of the movie, all the money he won from the first film, all he did was buy beer. and there's these giant towers of empty cans, and he's wasted and drunk, and he's all hungover, and he's burping, and he falls all over the cans, and they're going to go off on another adventure, and they got to kind of prop him up. And as a kid, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, why are they doing this to the bandit? This doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. And I felt that same way with They Call Me Bruce. I just didn't.
Actually, it's called My Name is Bruce.
My
Kind of
name
like
is
They
Bruce.
Call Me Bruce is a movie. So maybe that's what you got mixed up and or
Well,
whatever.
yeah. There's two of those actually. I think there's like they call me Bruce again. I
Oh,
think it's yeah, the Asian guy, the martial arts guy who made two of those. Yeah.
yeah.
My
But
it's my name is Bruce.
My Name is Bruce, yeah.
That's the Bruce Campbell one. Okay.
Yeah, which was directed by Bruce Campbell.
And
Um
shot on his ranch. So it's a giant tax write-off.
yeah, so I don't know.
So
Ted
how about
Raimi's in
instead
it
of
and you
I
know.
mean, and so instead of having a trailer on his property where he's a drunk and a miserable guy, go shoot in your actual house, which is probably right next door, and
Yeah, I
make
think
him
he lives in
somebody.
like Oregon or something now, or
He's
whatever,
got like horses and everything, from what I
Yeah.
remember.
So I'm a huge Raimi fanatic and whatnot, and I used to buy all these books on, of course there's Bruce's Chins Could Kill, Confessions of B Movie Actor. There's books by Josh Becker, who worked on the set of Evil Dead, including his like Evil Dead journal, where he talks about, the experiences that he actually had on the set, which Josh, I don't know if you know much about Josh. Josh is the guy who did like Running Time and Thou Shalt Not Kill Except and
Mhm.
Lunatics, a Love Story, a lot of which were produced by Bruce Campbell because they're best buddies. Bruce is very, or not Bruce, Josh is very, like, he's very honest on his opinions and his feelings and whatnot. And that does not go well with Hollywood. So he gets, so his stuff, like um, I don't know, like, essays and journals and everything that get printed, they're very, they talk about what he remembers, you know? and everything. Not he doesn't sugarcoat shit or whatever. So I always, if you guys get a chance to buy Rushes, I recommend that. That's my favorite of his books. But he also has a book called Going Hollywood, where he talks about when he went, left the Raimi crew and went on. He was the first one to go to Hollywood, and get a place and do all that stuff. Then he came back for a little bit, and then I think he tried to to drive over to Alaska or something. I didn't even know you could do that. Like, or a hike, just hiking to Alaska, from California. So it's interesting story. But anyway, point
Okay.
is, I would definitely recommend those because Josh, I've actually interviewed him a few times, and he is super nice, but he's also super, he'll tell it like it is. He'll give you the truth. He won't, like I said, he doesn't sugarcoat shit. And that gets people in Hollywood a little riled up. I don't think Tarantino likes him very much. I don't think he gives a crap, because he'll tell you
Okay.
what movies suck too. And whatever. So anyway, so check those out. I'm a huge Raimi fan, and I love that the Evil Dead hasn't sucked, yet. Like, I don't think there's been a movie from the Evil Dead franchise that I could say, man, they really missed it on this one. Why did they do that? And I'm just hoping it's a lot of it's because I think a lot of it goes through Sam and Rob Tappert and Bruce, and they don't want bullshit. They don't want something bad. They want something that lives up to the Evil Dead name.
Yeah,
So
I
there you
agree.
go.
I agree. There you go.
And so anyway, check out Evil Dead. I bought it on YouTube or rented it, didn't buy it, but I rented it on YouTube for $4. It's not streaming anywhere. It said it was streaming on Hulu. I guess it was at one point, but it's not streaming there anymore. So it's a problem with streaming, man. I
Just
think your buddy
disappears.
Cliff said that. Like the problem with streaming is you could have it today and it'll be gone tomorrow, you know, and
Yeah, unless this gets all corrupted, then I'll have this forever. So
or your Blu-ray player breaks, that's
just
you
buy
have to
another one.
buy another one, or that is scratched, you could just buy another one. Unless it
Buy
goes out
another
of
one.
print, then it's a little bit more expensive to buy, but you can still hopefully buy it. But yeah, physical media is the way to go. So anybody who says, I don't want to buy the disc, they're just lazy. Like I think it's really what it is it's lazy to go and buy uh the movies and put it into your player and then wait for it to, you know what I mean? Than it is to just go, you know, there you go. Oh, I found it. And now I can just press play and it works. You know? So
Well, because people are dumb. So,
whatever. Anyway, I do both. I stream and I,
hey,
you know,
I saw somebody do crowdfunding and they're like X amount of money for a digital poster. Digital poster. You can give me money for my movie and I will give you a digital poster. No, how about a real poster that's signed by the cast and crew
mm.
that you mail to me and I can hang on my wall
How much were they selling
digitally?
the digital poster for? Because
I
you
think it
could
was,
just get that, you could just literally just copy and save a poster when they post the poster up. You don't
yeah.
need to buy a digital poster. That's ridiculous. If it were like $1 for the digital
No, I
poster,
think it was part of something else too. Like, if you want to be a producer or something like that, oh, and you get a digital poster with it. And it's just like, oh, okay, I
that's
guess.
not a very big
That's not a perk.
uh, no.
Because sometimes it's a PDF file and they are large. So if you do want to go to, I guess, FedEx or whatever and print up a
You
7
know,
by 17 poster, it's going to look good, but then that requires you to go do that instead of just
and
getting one.
yeah, instead of getting one, but also Staples, I remember I was making mugs or whatever. Staples actually I think did mugs, or whatever. And you would I had the logo, one of my logos up there, and they were like, "Oh, is this yours? Or is this somebody else's?" Like they couldn't, print it out if it was somebody else's. So some places they won't even do that if unless
Well,
you own it.
yes and no. FedEx, I've realized, which used to be Kinko's, if you went in and said, "Hey, person behind the counter, here's my thumb drive. I need to make 20 of these posters." Even if your name's on the poster, they have you sign something that says, FedEx is not responsible, this, copyright, blah, 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 blah. And I guess they could say yes or no to it. But if you just go to one of their copy machines and put in the thumb drive and go, "Hey, I need paper, this type of paper," they'll fill it up and you just hit 20 and you pay for it with a credit card, you walk out. It's
There
if
you go.
they do it. It's if an employee handles it.
I
They
wasn't
they
aware
don't
of
want to
that.
get in trouble. Yeah. But if you do it, then it's on you.
That makes total sense.
So I just don't go to them asking for help.
Yeah, I don't know. I still want to make some more mugs, man. I love those mugs. I love having
Well, that's
mugs
why
with
I've
my
made
my stuff on them. That's the
just go to
best.
one of the places that I used. They
Yeah.
don't care. I've used two different companies to make my mugs.
Well, I mean, there's tons of them. I have a girl now that can make these for me and can do a really good, really stellar job on them. So I
Well,
think,
there you go.
there you go. Anyway, but here's my mug. I was drinking some tea, by the way. Because at night,
Nice to see that the tea bag is still in it. So you're
yes,
drinking the tea bag. How is it to be tea bagged?
I love being tea bagged. Thank you.
Ooh, okay. All right. If that's your thing. Hey, who am I to say? You know,
Oh,
people are into all different things today.
oh Lord, I never thought I would say that like today, but it happened. I didn't wake up this morning
It
going,
does.
you know what? I think I'm gonna say I love being teabagged. It just happens. It's the end of the video, so like nobody's watching this anyway. So
Wait, you mean you actually do? I was meaning a tea bag in tea in your mug. Ew. Ew.
that's what I was talking about. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. All right, let's get our story straight. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this
Wait,
episode.
we did a rating on the last one. Do we want to do
Oh
one on this?
God, I totally what did I say on the last one? I gave it a pretty high rating though.
I think you gave it like a five.
I didn't give it a five. I didn't give
I'm
it that.
pretty sure you did because I gave it a. What was the last video that we did?
It was Evil Dead Rise.
I think I gave it like a four.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 4.5. So I'll give this one a five.
Oh wow.
I think it's up
I would
there.
say I'll say this is a four, 4.5, more towards 4.5.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a fun little one. I
So
really gotta like look. I gotta start writing these down or something on a thing, so I have the ratings that I can already figure out, so I can be like, oh, match it. But no, I thought this was a pretty damn good one, and that
it's good.
director is amazing and should continue. He's got Alien Romulus, which I don't really watch the Alien stuff anymore, but I might check it out for you know, his version. Um,
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. So it's the one I'm thinking of. It's a movie, not a series, but there is a series coming out. Um, Science fiction. Yeah, it's a standalone film.
okay.
So, but I know there's also a. Oh yeah, yeah. Alien Romulus was originally scheduled for release on Hulu.
So apparently, Alien Romulus is set between the events of Alien Aliens. The story sees a group of young people on a distant world who find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So, if anyone can make that like sci-fi horror thing, it's this dude. So,
He could, yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So
I'll watch it. Thank God it's a standalone where I don't need to watch the other ones, or whatever, but maybe one day you'll do the Alien franchise for your with your buddy. And
with Donald for film discussion. We're doing
yeah,
Lethal Weapon next week. So all four
sweet.
Lethal Weapon movies, not the TV show. That doesn't count. Just the four movies.
Are we gonna do Ash versus the Evil Dead for this? I mean, it's up to you. I don't care.
The do what?
Are we gonna review Ash versus the Evil Dead eventually, I guess? Because I still have to watch
I
all of it.
because then we got to watch a whole. It's kind of like how we discussed The Purge, and then I brought up, oh, are we going to watch the TV series? But there's two series. I think there's 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure about watching. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
we'll
We'll
see.
have to discuss it. I don't mind the Purge ones because those are
Short.
well, and they're season two is a prequel, and then season one takes place after the movie. So they kind of fit into everything, but uh Ash vs. Evil Dead, since it does, they couldn't use Army of Darkness. So I don't know. I mean, we can
We'll
maybe.
see. We'll see.
I don't know if I'd be up for watching all those again. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see.
We'll see. All right. So everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this. Join us, I think, in another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks, something like that. Next month at some point, we'll be doing Army of Darkness. So you'll get to see us review that. That'll be fun. Also tune in starting next month, we'll be doing Mainstream Mondays back again. So we got those to look forward to. So we already recorded two of those. So we got the two for the month of March already done in the can.
Nice.
You
Nice.
know, so
And we like getting things done in the can. Right in the old can.
don't kick the can. Just don't.
Okay. I
All
won't.
right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.